Good morning, second grade team. Okay, I realize you're at the end of your first week, and the question is, where do I get my grades for my progress report? Looking at this page right here, this is going to be your best friend. I gave this to you for each week, and this one right here says it is week 1. So I know on week 1 that the kids should have the oral vocabulary of these action words. They should have afraid, depends, nervously, peered, perfectly, rescue, secret. If I were in the classroom, I would have these on cards, and we would, whenever we're transitioning, pull a couple out and have the kids act afraid. What does it look like? What does it sound like? Because the focus is on the characters, and they're trying to take the vocabulary knowledge of these action words and use it to help them better understand their stories. You should have already read Little Flap Learns to Fly, and the big question was, how do the illustrations and words the author uses help us know how Flap feels about flying? So there's a couple of key things there. We need to know how Flap feels about flying. And what we're going to use is we're going to use the pictures and we're going to use the words. So maybe have a class T-chart on a big chart and have illustrations, author's words. And talk about, and it's not going to be a lot of information. This isn't a super high level text, I understand that. But you're trying to get the students to understand the pictures help me understand this. The words the author used help me understand this. But the whole goal is they need to be able to understand how that character feels. So again, these action vocabulary words are really going to help them. For your second story, help, a story of friendship. They're going to have to use those key details about characters, setting, and events to summarize the story. So the biggest thing is when kids want to do a summary, you'll have that kid that can remember the entire story. And they're going to give you pages. They're going to basically retell you the story. If I wanted to read the story, I'd read the story. I want a summary. So characters, setting, events. And the events are going to, if I'm going back to my question, it's going to be telling me about how characters are feeling. And I'm guessing, without even reading, it's a story of friendship. So there's going to be possibly something that maybe tries that friendship, or, like in the giving tree, the boy and the tree were friends. The tree was too giving of a friend, and the boy was a very selfish friend. So those types of things, I don't know what your story is about, but not only are you going to focus on character, setting, and events, but also how the character feels. So now we're getting more complex. Now we're taking both skills, and it's going to continue. By the way, every single story the kids ever read from here on out, they need to know how the characters feel. Because in 3rd and 4th grade, characters start changing over time. And that's a huge piece. They need to be able to understand how characters change and why. So you're setting that very important groundwork for that. And your last text this week is crayons. And I know you're integrating all of those ideas together. And you're asking and answering questions and comparing texts now. So for kids to remember texts, you're probably going to want to chart your ideas. So I would definitely chart about the illustrations and the words the author uses, and have the title name and maybe have a little illustration up there so they can remember, oh, I remember reading that story. I remember what we talked about. Talk about those characters, setting, and events, and maybe plot that out, because that is the beginning of the plot structure.
Bill, did you copy?
Excuse me, I apologize. And then it's going to have to be a culminating activity. Along with that, it says there's writing and response every single week. Every day. Write a story about two friends that help each other. So if they're writing a story, they're writing a story talking about how two friends help each other. This doesn't have to be a huge book. You're looking at a story. Stories have setting. Stories have characters. And we're talking about two friends. So there's going to be two characters, two main characters. And there's going to be a problem of some sort, because that's what makes it a story. And I know that your grammar this week is learning punctuation. So you're going to look, when you're looking at that writing, you're going to look for your grammar grade for that capital letter at the beginning and the end punctuation, be it a period or a question mark. If there's no place to test the question marks in that story, you're going to want to bring that into something else. Now, the culminating activity, which I believe your week ends on next Monday, is comparing across texts. How do illustrations and details authors use help you understand help you understand a story? There's a typo here. So yeah, I have to be careful reading this. So we want to be able to figure out, do the kids know how to use illustrations and details from the author to understand a text? Now, I haven't looked at your assessment yet. Deb said she was going to get me a copy of it, and I will look. But that's what we're wondering. This is what we're trying to get the kids to understand. If that test doesn't work, we're going to have to come up with some others. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking for some mentor text for second grade that helps us understand characters better. But don't forget, those vocabulary, it is not a test vocabulary, it is an action vocabulary. How are you going to know that those kids know they know these words? And these words definitely should be up on your word wall. I wouldn't put them up high until after the week is over. These words need to be visible. Maybe put them up on your boards with magnets or something, so whenever you have an extra 2 minutes, you're grabbing words down and you're quizzing the kids. They need to know these words because these words will be words that will help them for the rest of their life. I hope this helps. It's a 6.5 minute overview of this week, and let me know what else you need. Bye.